Welcome back. Today we're going to learn how to estimate the square root of numbers that are not perfect squares. So to start off here, I'm going to write down my perfect squares. So if I look at 1, so if we have 1, 1 is the same as 1. And then if we're looking at 2, that's going to be 4. And if we look at 3, that's going to be 9. And we have 4 is 16. 5 is going to be 25. And 6 is going to be 36, 7 is going to be 49, 8 is going to be 64, 9 is going to be 81, 10 is going to be 100, 11 is going to be 121, 12 is 144, 13 is 169, 14 is 196, and 15 is 225, 16 is going to be 256, and I am going to just leave it at there because I'm going to run out of room. So these here are all of my perfect squares up to 16 I did. Okay? Well, I'll do 17, which is 289 because that just fits 17. Okay, so right there are all of my perfect squares up to 17. So we're going to start off with just estimating whole numbers here. Okay, so I'm going to look at a new number here. So let's look at the number, let's say we want the square root of 75. So we want to find the square root of 75. Okay, so to try and find the square root of 75, we're going to use benchmarks to help solve this here. So what that means is I want a number close to it and a number far away from it. So if I'm looking at 75, I want what's a perfect square that's close to it here. I look, 1 just below is 64 and 1 just above is 81. So I'm going to put that right here. Okay, so I know 64 and we have 81. So the square root of 64 is 8 and the square root of 81 is 9. Now, the difference between these two here is 17, which is just this plus this. Okay? Now, 75 is going to be somewhere over here. There's going to be 75. Now, if we look at this, 75 is a total of 11 of the way across. So it is 11 out of 17. So if I look at this automatically, I can estimate this square root to one decimal place. So this is going to be approximately, I have here 11 over 8 and 11/17 of the way. So it is 8 and only 11 of a total of 17ths of the way to the next perfect square. So 11/17 is past half, because half, let's say if it's 18, it's 9, it's past half. So I'm going to just say roughly 8.6 is my answer for that one. All right? Let's take a look at another example here. Let's try the square root of, let's say, 45. Okay? So once again, we want to find my benchmark. So step 1, we're going to figure out what my benchmarks are. I'm going to look above here and find some benchmarks. So the benchmark says we need 2 closest to us. What are the 2 perfect squares that are closest, meaning one smaller and one larger? What's the one that's just, what is it in between, the benchmarks? So I look at 45. It is in between 36 and 49. So let's do a little number line here. And we're going to have 36 and 49. 36 is 6, 49 is 7. Now, the difference between these is always 6 plus 7, which is going to be 13. So I know this is automatic approximately 6 point something. Now I look at 45. 45 is going to be way over here. Okay, so that is 9 away out of 13. Okay, so 9 out of 13. If you look at that, that's way past halfway. Even if we rounded like 10 out of 15, that's 66% or 67%. So I'm going to say this is 6.7 approximately. I would also allow 6.6 in that one. Just like in this question here, I'd allow 8.7 maybe, 8.5, somewhere around there. Okay, you don't have to be too exact because we're estimating square roots today. Let's look at one more example. Let's try the square root. Let's try the square root of, I'm going to say 150. All right, so we want the square root of 150. Well, I have to look here. What's 150 between? It's between 144 and 169. So these two here are going to be my benchmarks. So I have 144 and 169. Now 144 is 12 and 169 is going to be 13. Okay? So looking at this part here now, altogether we have 25. 12 plus 13 is 25. So, and I know it's going to be automatically, we go with the lower one, 12 point something. Now we have to figure out what that decimal is. So I look here, we have 150, it's going to be over here, and it's only 6 out of 25 of the way to 169. So 6/25 of the way to 13. So if I look at 6/25, 5 out of 25 is the same as around 20%. So 6 out of 25 is going to be just a bit more. So I'm going to say 12.2. I would also allow 12.3 and something like that. Okay? So this is how we estimate square roots.